Yeah, so I press recording now. So, hello, welcome, dear Jennifer, to this workshop where I would like to read the fairy tale Wasilissa and Baba Yaga. Or not read, I will just tell it like freely. And this fairy tale inspired me a lot to do, which is a Slavic doll. It's called Virginias. And it looks like this. This one is already 3 years old.
Oh.
And I did it with indigenous women from Siberia. That's where I learned to do her. She's very dear to my heart. And since this fairy tale Wasilissa is also about the doll, yeah, I think that goes together. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I didn't offer that before online. And I'm very happy that you're joining me. And then we can do it together, co-creatively.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Yeah. This is wonderful. I feel it's a wonderful opportunity, and how cool that that was done in Siberia. Oh my God, how neat. She's had a long journey just like
Oh,
you.
yes. She had a long journey and she has already experienced quite a lot because I always put her underneath my pillow or wear her in my bra. And yeah, I've been doing local workshops here as well. I have not washed her yet. So she has already experienced quite a lot in 3 years.
That's so cute. I love that. And she has all that beautiful energy in her and all that wisdom. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
that's true.
It's
And it's the
gorgeous.
power of intention, which is in her as well. So, but I'm also very curious to create a new one today. There's always a power in something new, and what you breathe into it.
That is very true.
Do you know
Yeah.
the fairy tale Vasilisa and Baba Yaga?
So I know Baba Yaga a little bit from, I just noticed there was a wasp in my window. That's why I looked up.
Okay.
A little bit is she came in real strong last winter, and I was making a tea that represented her, and I was trying to cook at the same time. And it was funny because she was like a little bit of mischievous discipline, and a little bit of danger, but very wise in a lot of opening to mystery and magic. And so I ended up putting, it was on a new moon, and I put an oil on that happened to have coconut oil, which I was allergic to. So I swelled up and I started having anaphylactic shock. And the cake I was making, I didn't read the directions all the way through, and I thought I ruined it, but I didn't. It just needed to sit overnight. So it was like ultimate chaos. But when everything came together after, there was a lot that I learned from it, and there was a lot of respect,
Mm.
and it really took me deeper into the meaning, of the woods and the women who live in the woods and the old wise tales and the story of her and her tools. So that's all I knew of her. I didn't know much else.
Hmm. Well, that's already quite a lot. From the Slavic background, I'm just going to put the candle on to invite her in. For me, she's like the most powerful witch I know. And she has been very present most recently after I have done the broom together with you. She has become very present, and I really invited her in during the womb weekend retreat where she was very, very present. And since then, yeah, she's very alive in my life again. She's one of my spirit guides, and she's very, very powerful. So to the Baba Yaga. May she be with us, yeah, and guide us through this time together. Yeah, and this story is a very popular fairy tale in Slavic countries. It's called Wasilissa, like the most beautiful Wasilissa, it's called, and Baba Yaga. Sometimes it's Baba Yaga, and sometimes it's just Wasilissa, beautiful Wasilissa. And once upon a time, there was a man living very happily with his woman somewhere, like in the woods, and they had a daughter who was called Wasilissa, and a very, very happy family until the wife got very ill, and there was no hope for her, and she was like on the deathbed, and obviously the husband and Wasilissa were very, very sad that she would pass on soon. And so the mother called Wasilissa to her and said, "Oh, dear daughter, I will miss you very much. And I can understand that, of course, you're going to be very sad once I'm gone. But you know what? I'm going to give you a doll. And you can give this doll a name. And she's always going to be there for you. And this is me. This is going to be my spirit in the stall. Who's always going to protect you whenever you've got any sorrows or you want to be close to me. Just take this doll and call me, and I will always be there." And so it happened. She passed on this doll to her daughter and passed away the same night. And also Wasilissa was very sad. At the same time, she was very happy to have at least this doll. She would always connect her to her mother. Yeah, and so a few years passed by, and yeah, and her father got lonely, and he was thinking, I better go out there and get another wife, because life is not nice to be there by myself in the woods. And so it happened that he found himself a new wife who also had 2 daughters. And they moved in. But shortly afterwards, it was apparent that this was not a very nice woman, and her 2 daughters were very jealous and not very nice at all. And they were most importantly very jealous of Wasilissa. Oh, there's Selma's coming in. Just let her in.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
Hello, Selma.
Hi. Yay. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you. We probably had the time mix up, didn't we, again?
Uh-oh. Am I at the wrong time?
Because I was there like an hour earlier already, and now we already started. We're in the midst of the story of fairy tale.
Oh dear. Sorry about that. I guess I checked the time zone before yeah, I checked the time zone and put it on my calendar, but that was a while ago. So then we had time zone change. So hopefully you're recording and I can come back and see the recording. But I've heard some of this story before, so I'll just let you carry on.
Yeah. Okay, Min, thank you. There, you're joining us, and it's at this recording. And we are still at the beginning, where the man, he lost his wife, who passed on this magical doll to Wasilissa, the daughter, and saying to the daughter that through this doll, she can always call upon the mother, or when she needs help, and she would always receive, a sign and help to the doll. And so it happened that this man found himself another wife, and she had 2 daughters, and they were not very nice at all. This new wife, the stepmother, and the 2 sisters, they were very jealous of Wasilissa, who was very pretty compared to them, and everything what she was doing in the household, it was all very good, and they were very, very jealous. And the stepmother was also very angry because she thought there's no way that somebody's going to marry her 2 daughters if Wasilissa is there as a competition. And so she was always giving her a lot of work and really pushing her around, and she was like a slave, just always had to work. But before she went to bed, she always talked to her doll, and she asked the doll for help. And the doll always said to her, "Don't worry, Wasilissa, just go to sleep. You're blessed. And when you wake up, all the jobs, whatever they give you, I'm going to support you." And so it happened. Whenever she got up, all the difficult tasks were always done in the best possible way. But of course, the stepmother got even more angry instead of being happy. She was thinking, what else can I do to get rid of this girl? And so she came up with the idea to send her in the dark woods to visit Baba Yaga, who is very feared as a very fearsome witch who is said to eat everybody and to kill everybody. So she said, this is the best way to get rid of Wasilissa. And she even came up with a plan that she removed all the candles in the house, that there was no light. And she called Wasilissa to her and said, we need light, and the only person who can give us light is Baba Yaga, the witch in the woods. So you should go and get fire for us. Yeah, and so Wasilissa thought, he's got no choice. And with the protection of the doll, she said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so she went to all the dark woods until she arrived at the house of Baba Yaga. And it was surrounded with skulls, and the house had like chicken legs. It was able to move, and it looked really scary and spooky. But the doll was always saying, nothing is going to happen. Just go in there. And so she met Baba Yaga, who didn't appear very friendly at all. She was saying like, who are you? What are you doing here? And so Wasilissa explained to her that she needs to bring some fire. Otherwise, her family cannot survive. And Baba Yaga said, well, I will give you the fire if you do all the tasks here which I give you. You have to cook, you have to clean everything. You have to select the wheat from the good, from the bad. And you have to do it everything until tomorrow. And I'm going to sleep now. And first, Wasilissa thought, oh God, there's no way I can do all those tasks. But again, the doll said to her, don't worry, Wasilissa, just go to sleep, because the morning is more wise than the evening. Don't worry, just go to sleep and everything is going to be done. And so the light came in, and Wasilissa was only just observing that there was like a horse with a white rider. And as soon as the white rider like passed the house, it became light. And then another horse with a red rider appeared. And then the red sun has arisen. And she saw that the Baba Yaga was riding off. And Wasilissa, she did the cooking and some things because the doll has already done everything. And then it already got dark and she has seen a dark rider, the dark horse. And then it turned night and Baba Yaga came with the dark horse and could not believe her eyes that everything has been done. She was saying, that's incredible. I don't know how you have done it, but I give you even more to do until tomorrow. And she gave Wasilissa more and more work to do. And Wasilissa yet again was talking to her doll. And the doll said, don't worry, Wasilissa. Go back to sleep again. And I'm going to help you that all the tasks are going to be done. And so Wasilissa went to sleep. And the next morning, ta-da, everything has been done. And Baba Yaga got actually really angry. She was not able to believe it. And she was saying, what are you doing? That everything is being done for you. And she was saying, I cannot tell you that, but I'm blessed. It's a blessing. And Baba Yaga got really, really angry. And she was saying, I cannot stand blessed girls. Just tell me what you want from me. And I'm going to, please leave my house. Yeah, and so Wasilissa said, the only thing I need is the light, like I told you, so I can return back to my house. Otherwise, my stepmother and my sisters, they're not going to let me in. So I need the fire. Baba Yaga said, yeah, okay, I will give you all the fire. And she gave her a skull with the eyes inside. She said, take it, and whenever the eyes glowing, the fire will never go out. And before Wasilissa was leaving, she was asking her, can I know what the 3 horses were, the riders? And Baba Yaga replied, if that's the only thing you want to know, I will tell you, but not more, because too much knowing is not good for you. And Wasilissa asked, so what is the white rider and the white horse? And Baba Yaga replied, this is my servant of the daylight. And what is the red horse, the red rider? This is the red sun, and it's my servant of the sun. And what's the black rider with the horse? This is the night, and they're all my servants. And now take the lights and just leave me. Cannot stand blessed girls. And yeah, and so Wasilissa took the skull, which shown her the path through the dark woods, back to the stepmother and the girls and her 2 daughters. Couldn't believe her eyes that she actually returned. And they were there sitting in the dark and didn't know what to do with themselves. And as soon as Wasilissa shone the skull, the eyes started to glow. And immediately when the stepmother and the girls looked at the skull, it burned them. And they died. Whilst Wasilissa remained there and waited until her dad came back after long journeys. And the skull didn't do anything to Wasilissa, and she was always protected to the doll. And after a while, they were thinking, yeah, how can we earn some money living here in the dark woods? And so Wasilissa went into the town, into the village, and found some work of weaving, like the finest threads for a woman who was selling some clothes to the royal family. And it happens that the king discovered those most beautiful clothes what Wasilissa was weaving in the most beautiful way that he has never seen in his whole life before. And of course, she was always doing it with the help of the doll. And he was saying like, oh, I need to meet this woman who is doing this most beautiful clothes that he has ever seen. And as it happened, he met Wasilissa and he fell in love with her. And they got married, and her father moved in with them into the big castle, and they lived there happily ever after, and with this beautiful doll always by her side. And that was the story of Wasilissa and Baba Yaga. And when I learned, like I've shown her earlier, Selma, before you came, my doll, Virginia, I learned that 3 years ago when I traveled through Siberia, and I learned how to do it with some women there living in what they're calling in Aspasia books like kindermaids. It's a very long tradition to do the dolls for all different things. Like they put intentions into them. Like one is like for good cooking, the other one is for wealth, and the other one is to attract a husband into life. It's like we are breathing life into this dolls that she's got then a spirit like in the fairy tale. And that's what I would like to do with you today.
Thank you for telling the story, Erica. I've heard that story and even told that story a few times, but it has an extra authenticity coming from you, and your connections with the original lineage of that story. So thank you.
I cannot hear you so loud, Selma. Is that you? Have you got your volume low, or is that me from my side? But I cannot hear you so well.
Hold on, let me check here. Is that better?
Oh, yes, much better.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. 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 So I was just saying thank you for telling us that story. So was there a list of supplies to make this doll?
Yes. What we need are like some clothes in colors you like to choose, just like one white for the body, and the other ones doesn't matter which color, like squares. Square.
Okay. I'm going to go gather my stuff.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
And some wool and some thread.
Okay.
You've got everything already, Jennifer?
Yes, I do. I think I have everything. And I love the story. I love how I've never heard the whole story. And I love it. It does have that Cinderella, you know, so I can totally see where Cinderella came from. And and I love how that doll, like, there's so much, like, about her that is filled with like wonder and magic and mystery. And here in the story, it makes me believe in like a power that's there with her by your side. So I'm really excited to make her today and kind of feel, whatever magic was in that story. And you telling it like in everything that you did when you made that doll in Siberia, and then we get to make it now, so that whatever transfers through that too. So I feel this is really special. This is a great opportunity to hear the story and hear it from you and do this doll. This is magnificent. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here and to pass on you like this breath. For me, it's like this breath of the spirit into our own creation of a doll. I think this is very special. Like we've been doing with the matryoshkas, it's very similar, isn't it? Because we breathe the life into this matryoshka or into the doll, and depending how much we believe in magic and how much we are creatrixes of our own life, the more it really has got a life and it's very unique. And it's very always makes me excited like a little girl.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, so beautifully put. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have some supplies, Erica, but I'm gonna see if I can use some old holy socks.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if I'm gonna just maybe you can just give the beginning instructions and I'll just improvise with the supplies that I have available, and we'll see what
Yes.
happens.
Well, we start first with a little white square. This is going to be like the head, like this. And we've got some wool. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of doll online. So let's see how it goes. It's a good practice for me as well. And for the head, we need not so much of the wool. I've got here like sheep wool. Just like for the little head, maybe a little bit more. And then we put the wool in the middle of the square and tuck it around like this, like it's really tight. And we can also turn it a little bit. So that it really has got then a little face. Like, not a face, like a head, a round head. And then we take some thread, some white thread. And put it around the head, like this. And really just tuck it around a few times. That it's really tight. And it's not even necessary to cut. I always just like do it like this, tuck. Just tear it apart. And in that way, we have got already a beautiful head. How are you getting on?
Well, I don't really have wool, so I'm gonna cut up some old wool socks and just sort of make a little bundle. I'm going to take the tip of a white sock and I'm going to put that bundle in there to make the head.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
just
creative.
working on that.
Very creative.
But I know that the wool makes a nice round little ball, and I'm trying to figure out how to make a nice round little ball with my old Holy socks. I decided I was like, I was wearing socks with holes in the heels for a long time.
This is a
And I
big
said,
hole.
you know what? I
One
can
big
have,
hole.
it's time for me to have some new socks. So I ordered all these really nice new socks. Look, no holes, right? But then I've got all these old socks that are like,
Yeah, that's recycling.
what do you do with the old socks then, right?
I know it's not recycling, it's upcycling, isn't it?
Upcycling.
Upcycling, making something new out of it.
I think I can make a nice round ball out of this tip, like this piece of this sock.
Yeah, sure. And because it's still soft, you can tuck it a little bit like this. After you put the thread around it, you can, with your fingers, tuck it into shape. And maybe you already want to put an intention in the doll while you're doing it.
My intention is that this doll will guide my footsteps always. Made out of old socks. Ah!
That is so aligned. Oh, brilliant. I love it.
I just need a little cackle today.
Have you got an intention for your doll as well, Jennifer?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna kind of hijack the being blessed. Like I just want to go with the being blessed and having the blessings. That I'm just gonna roll with that one.
Wow.
I think Baba Yaga was lying. I think she really does like blessed girls. Because what would she do if she wasn't a blessed girl, right? She would have been making her work harder and harder and all of that, and she probably would have worked her to death. That to me doesn't sound like someone that she likes.
Yes, it's interesting to look into that. I think she recognized her for being a magician like she is actually.
Right.
But obviously, this is a fairy tale. We are not saying like, oh, great, Wasilissa, you're a great girl. This is like the hidden language in it. She had respect for her because she obviously said, wow, she has got magic, you know? Otherwise, she would have not given her the skull. Yeah.
Right.
She had a lot of respect for Wasilissa, I think. Yeah. And I like so much that she's this all powerful, like of the elements, like the day and the night and the sun. And it's one of the few remaining fairy tales where I think there's still a lot of positive interpretation of Baba Yaga, which in many, many fairy tales has really just put in a very negative terms, like she's eating kids and just to scare people, which I think is not a right interpretation. And it just came with this Christianity, which has been spreading as well, the Orthodox Church. And it's not the original meaning of Baba Yaga. And this fairy tale, I think, is still quite positive the way they portray Baba Yaga.
It has some remnants of that, but And, that's why I'm kind of interested in reclaiming some of the original essence of the story by connecting with those more ancient ancestors that might still have these kinds of stories intact in a different way. And remembering some of the more original messaging, because most like this version that you told today, it has the whole purpose of women's lives is to compete for marrying a wealthy man. A narrative. Okay, that's not the original value or purpose of a woman's life. In a well of womb society, that would not be the sole goal and orientation of a woman's life. And that's at the root of this competition with the stepmother and the daughters, and the stepsisters. And so I would like to hear, I would like to see us reclaim these fairy tales that have very patriarchal renditions that we've grown up with. I would like to see us trace the roots of these stories, right? And so then, of course, still Baba Yaga is on this scary, creepy, chicken-legged house, and it's still all this scary, creepy stuff, and that she eats people and all of that. It's just like the others, but there is these threads of her wisdom that are still in the story that I feel like we could trace the threads, trace the roots back to reclaiming a story of, mutually shared power that's not this whole like weird backwards coercion, competition for power, competition for, patriarchal acclaim and success, but instead a way that power was shared in a society that honored and revered powerful women. And I feel like there's some rewriting and reclaiming of the roots of these stories that is a curiosity for me, and I'd be curious to hear your reflections or insights about that.
Yes, and that's what I love the most, because it's bringing these old things into the now and really opening them up, what they mean for us. And I think in the discussion like now, I like that. What do we still like? What speaks to us from the wisdom, and how do we rewrite the story in the nowadays age? Like I have chosen the story because I was still fascinated that there's this powerful Baba Yaga, who can live alone in the wounds. She knows she's got the power of all the elements, and she is also in control of the death and of the light. Yeah, so she is portrayed all powerful and also benevolent, because she gives the light to her Wasilissa. Those are like the positive things, which I can also take for me in the here and now. And at the same time, I'm totally with you, like this working hard only because you're beautiful, and because you're working so hard, then you're gonna marry a king and stuff like that. This is very like patriarchal.
Yeah, so I want to take a stab at rewriting the story a little bit, imagining what it would have been like in a womb reverential, well of womb, matrilineal, matrifocal, or even like a partnership between the masculine and feminine powers in a society like that. What could this story be like if that were going on? But first, I want to know what's next. I made my little head.
I wanted to do a little plug too, like the kits that I make, the ritual kits. That's a lot of what I've been doing, is rewriting some of these stories, taking back. So there is no, it's a part of like the paper dolls my book. It's that reclaiming and taking back of what's ours and how these stories were told, in a way where the women were weak. The women needed something else. We were completely disconnected from nature. And here in the Baba Yaga story, like I loved that she is connected to nature, almost as if she rules it, right? Because they're her servants. So there's like a potency to that. Like, yes, I am, dark in life and in light and in sun, all these things. And I love that because as you said it, Summer, it made me think like with the sun, which is masculine, traditionally, that here she is like in rule of that and having her own power over that itself. So that was really neat to hear the story in that way. But yeah, that's something that I've been working on with my kits, little booklets and
Right.
stories. So they're almost done because there's food that goes with them, a little ceremony and costuming. So yeah. We'll
Oh
see
my
as they come
goodness.
out.
I hope you'll share. I think, I hope you'll share like a little enticing excerpt of the story on the blog, or even do part 1, part 2, and then in order to get the end of the story, you have to get the kit or something like that.
Right. Oh, that's great. I love that idea. I was actually automatically, it's like, to me, I want to build the relationship. The story that I wanted to do was about with the Baba Yaga, even though I have a tea for her. And something else. It's I want to write about the doll, the journey and the life of the doll, and that essence of her as the, this is the feminine supporting the feminine. So she's kind of like that older, to me, by the picture, I'm like, oh, she's kind of like that older woman, like that little crone that just sits on her shoulder like a higher self, intuition, instinct telling you what to do, and like letting the work get done. So that was like, I wanted to, I was very intrigued by the doll and what powers she possesses. So I think I'm going to
We are
write
telling
about
stories about her because
her.
we're doing it now. We're breathing
Yes.
new life into the dolls. Yeah, I would like to continue. We are making the breasts now. And for that, you take a little square again, or like, could be also this shape. Oh, you're frozen. I hope not. I'm not frozen. Can you hear?
Yeah, my reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so much. It's so great.
I'm back again.
Oh,
I've
I
been
missed
thrown
you.
out there for.
Yeah, you were thrown out for a minute, but you're back.
You're back.
Okay.
I missed you, Sama, by the way, really quick. I was muted when you came on. It's like so good to see you.
Yeah,
So,
good to
okay.
see you too.
So good to see both of you.
Both of you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're making breasts.
We are making the breasts. So we're taking another piece of cloth
Okay.
and
Any
some
color?
more
Any
wool
color?
or some socks.
So is this going to be like the color of her dress? Because we're not making naked breasts, right? We're making.
No, this is not going to be dressed. This is the breasts. For the
These are
dress,
naked?
which is like a cloak,
Uh-huh.
then you can really choose then the color which you like. But those are going to be only the breasts.
But I'm seeing that you're making your breasts a different color than the face.
Yes.
As though she is wearing clothing over her breast, right? Like you're not trying to make naked breasts for her.
Yeah. And the face is the only thing which is then white.
Okay. So I'm going to have this color be the color of the dress.
Oh, that's cool.
I have 2 socks like this, so I can make cloak with one of them and the breasts and the rest of the body with the other one.
That's awesome.
So are we making two squares like we did with the head, but smaller?
Yeah, but smaller.
Okay.
Unless you want to have really big breasts like the head.
Okay, we can have as big a breast as we want on this doll.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are the creatrixes now.
Okay. Let's see
And
here.
and the technique is exactly the same like with the head. Just tuck it really small. Turn it a little bit that it gets more shape, tighter shape. And then like with the face, just take the thread and put the thread a few times around it. That is really nice and tight. Go. So I've got already a really nice breast here, one of them.
And I want to state my intentions for these breasts, because I've been doing a lot of re-breastfeeding, like imagining breastfeeding my own inner infant and imagining breastfeeding on Divine Mother's breast. So I want to put the intention of these breasts in this doll that I will always feel nourished and held, even in my most tender and vulnerable moments, that I will always feel like I can connect with the infinite source of love and nourishment.
Beautiful.
So my breasts might be a bit large to fulfill that purpose.
So I'm doing the second breath now, a breast. My Bereginia is like the broom. It continues with the magic of attracting a partner in my life. A soul partner, a co-creative partner for life and business. Because wouldn't it be beautiful if we can run together a business? And when we can also imagine to move with me to Kazakhstan. So co-creative partner for life and business. So I've got my two breasts. What about you?
Still working on it, but getting close. And I just realized that the socks that I'm using for the stuffing inside are some of the socks that lasted the longest, that my grandmother gave me as a Christmas present, I think, or maybe a birthday present, quite a number of years ago.
Oh, wow. So your
Like,
grandmother is with us as well.
yes. And they were the longest living socks in my sock drawer that didn't get a hole in them for a really long time, like 10 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and they finally got a hole in them. And I'm with my grandmother a lot right now, because she is, gosh, how do I want to say this in a magical way? The veils are thinning for her. So she's living her world is becoming more and more one with the spirit world, and that can be challenging if you don't have a practice and an understanding of that, I think. And so for some people it's quite distressing, and it is distressing for my grandmother, but I guess I'm adding the intention that her inner wisdom about this time will awaken more and more, and that it will ease her eventual passing into the spirit world.
Mm.
And that will ease her relationships with her children as she changes, and her own relationship with herself as she changes and her life changes, as she becomes more familiar with and at ease in being in both worlds at once, because that and that she may have enough time and support and resources to fulfill that mission that I feel she's being given the gift of, that she might find some wisdom in her to start to experience the gift of this time of her carefully crafted reality being sort of dismantled and replaced with a different kind of reality that's totally unfamiliar to her.
Mm. Do you feel like you want to give the doll to her?
I don't know about this particular doll, but perhaps I can share this one with her and have it. This one could sit on the altar that I have my grandmother's photo on as a shared helper with this process.
Mm. Beautiful. Very touching.
And it's making me think of another grandmother that I've been sitting with recently, who passed away. And this is the mother of my stepdad, who passed away recently. And I saw a cousin announcing it on social media. And when I asked if they had any more photos of this grandmother, because I wanted to put a picture of her on my ancestral altar. And that cousin referred me to an aunt who happens to be very much a evangelical Christian. And this aunt replied with, because my cousin thought this aunt would have more photos of this grandmother and might be able to, help me out with that. And the aunt replied, I'd be happy to celebrate her life, because I said that's why I wanted to put her on the altar, to celebrate her life. And the aunt said, it'd be lovely to celebrate her life with you. And I hereby apply the blood of Jesus against any altars or spiritual invocation that might be done in relation to this altar around anyone in my family from here and all generations to come.
Mm.
As though she needed to, like somehow the blood of Jesus was protecting her and the family from some who knows what that I was going to do with this altar. And I kind of have, there's a whole narrative in her lineage of Christianity that I'm quite familiar with, that even though there's altars in church, those are the only sanctified altars, that having an altar at home is of the devil and all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I didn't reply, and then that cousin erased that comment stream because it was very strong the way she was saying. She was basically doing a spiritual invocation, like protection for whole family, that most of the family wouldn't want her to do. Like she was doing this like thing for the whole family against their will, as though, yeah. So that was weird. And that was quite disturbing for me, even though I feel like I work with Jesus all the time. And then after that, him and Mary Magdalene, I'm walking with them and they're telling me, well, she just doesn't understand any of that. The whole putting the blood of Jesus on things for protection is reminiscent of putting menstrual blood on things for protection. I mean, she just doesn't understand where that came from and why that's even in her vocabulary, and so, and that she just has no idea about it. And so, but it feels like there's some healing or ancestral healing in that. I haven't really approached that part of my ancestral lineage, but it came up to bring that up because that was just really recent. So perhaps, I don't know where that's going.
Thank you for sharing. And there's obviously a lot of it emerging.
Yeah. Okay, I have my 2 breasts ready to go.
Wow. They're really big breasts.
I know they're not quite as big as the head, but I thought I was making them smaller, but
oh wow,
there they are.
Wow.
Does she have a neck or is it just like head and then breast?
So as the next step, we put the breasts at this just underneath the face and then put the thread again like around like this to make it tight.
Okay. Do you kind of want to, I feel like I need to put some wraps of the thread around the 2 breasts to keep them together, and then around the neck and head too.
But yours are obviously very big. Maybe you need some
Extra
assistance around each one of them. It's like with mine, it's okay when I just put them underneath both of them and put the thread like this.
They
as
stay.
often as possible until it's really like firm, to the body.
Yeah, I think mine just needed a little extra support.
Sure. Each one is unique, so
There we go.
Give them some extra support.
Let's see yours, Jennifer.
Yours have got
she is.
beautiful blue color with flowers. Nice. So if you've got the breasts and the head, we can continue if you're ready. Are you ready to continue with the
Yes.
arms?
Yes.
And here the arms are the same time like the dress or the cloak. So we need then a bigger piece, two pieces of the same color.
And what do we do with these two pieces?
I will show you that there will be the arms. I need some pieces myself right now. I take this one. Some flowery. For that, I've got here a big one, but I cut it in two because we have got two arms. So if you've got two pieces that you want to use for arms in the dress, we're going to do it like this, like a triangle on the top. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a technique for that. So first, you tucked the triangle and then on both sides like this. And it's like a bit of rolling together. But just on the top, that it looks like this. If you've done some cakes and you do like the foam or something through, that's how it looks like.
Like a pastry bag.
Like a pastry bag. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, that's it.
And with a piece of the thread, we put it to our face like this. Maybe a bit shorter, like this.
Uh-huh.
And again, the same technique with the thread. Just go a few rounds so that it's really tight again.
Oh, brilliant.
And once the arm is tight on the body, like this, so it looks like an arm, we can put a thread here at the end. Here, like a thread around like this, so it looks like a hand. I really like it that we don't actually have to cut anything once we have pre-cutted the pieces. And when the arm is like nicely tucked underneath, then we can put this close, like stretch it, that it really looks like a coat at the back. Like this. So like one side is already like a really nice arm and a coat. Or dress, however you want to call it. And it's the same with the other one. So I'm already with the second one here. And if you've got any intentions, each time, like it's like a meditation, and say to yourself what you put in her.
Okay, so in her right hand, I'm putting the intention of always having the energy. Well, first of all, the wisdom to know when action is needed and what action is needed, and the energy to be able to implement that action.
In the right hand?
In the right hand. See, I made her right hand first. Can you see it? Her boobs are just really. But this is her right hand right there. That mother's milk thing is really big for me.
Very big, yeah. She can give food, milk food for everyone. Very fertile.
Yes.
Oh. Where are you now?
I'm putting the left arm on. And the left arm, the intention there is that she will always know how to receive and show me how to receive the support that I need and the gifts and nourishment that are abundantly offered.
Mm. What about you, Jennifer?
So it's all about magic. Like knowing when I'm supposed to do work and when it's not my work to do. Being able to discern that. And then whatever is mine, that it's just done just like waving a magic wand, that it will just be done with ease and precision and blessings and grace. Very playful, kind of, a little bit cocky and confident, but also very filled with love and magic. Just knowing she can do the job. That's it.
Thank you. How does she look like? Do you want to show? Oh, beautiful. She's so funny. All different colors. I have to think about Pippi Langstrom. So joyful. So many different colors. This is mine so far. At the moment, she's telling me no compromises, and also like discernment, not going for half things, no compromises.
I love that. Yes. I love how that green just meshes right in. It like pops out all the flowers and the colors. It's like, and it's like the heart center is green, the center of like a flower. I think the pattern on your flowers, are those green too? I just love the green there. That just says like so much life and vitality.
Yeah,
It's
they're
so
different colored flowers, blue, red, green.
awesome. It feels alive. It feels like a new bloom. The new, right?
Well, they're all very alive, very alive.
Yes.
We breathe the life
those.
into the dolls.
Yes. Look at this. Oh, Summer. Oh my God. Look at her. I love
That
it.
is the Mother Earth. That's Mother Earth.
Yes. It looks like when I was very endowed when I had my daughter, and then they just grew so big after, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh my God, it needs to express. It looks like it's right there, like the milk dripping out of the nipples. And so I'm like, yeah, you nailed it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so beautiful women. And now you can decide if you want to leave her like this and then on an apron, or if you want to fill her like with herbs or flowers, anything, maybe some socks materials, and if you want to fill her with something like this one,
make
for
a dress
example,
and then, yeah.
this one hasn't got anything, yeah, so you can just cut the dress a little bit, and just make an apron in front, or like I'm gonna fill it, like I'm gonna put some wool in it, and I've got some herbs from Kazakhstan, from the mountains where I imagine to live, my most favorite place. So I'm gonna put some herbs from the mountains from Kazakhstan in the body. So you can think about that.
So how do you add the body? So say, okay, here I am. I've got this bottom part, this top part of the sock that I can stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, I know, never mind.
Oh, you already figured out yourself probably, because then you just, this part, look, from the breast, this part,
Look, I can
Yeah,
put it on
perfect. There you go. She's already
like at
got
the
a dress.
sock, right? And then I
Perfect.
can, and the top of the sock makes a nice belt kind of a thing, like that, with a matching color. And then I can add the bits of the socks and maybe some herbs in there. And then would you stitch up the bottom so everything stays in?
Yes. But I put it like this, like once you've got everything ready, put her there and then stitch around the body. Like when it's finished, then it's a really nice, like for me, it's going to be like a round.
Uh-huh.
For you,
Another.
she has
So
got
she's
a long,
like a snow woman. She's like a snow woman. But mine, I might just stitch the bottom like this, and she'll be round up here, but then the bottom will be like where she can sit.
yes. I even had to think of a mermaid there. She's
Ah,
got very long. If you put her like the tail, then she really looks like a mermaid to me at the moment.
right. If I really stretch that tail out to the side like
Yeah.
that. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can even add a layer to her mermaid tail.
Wow. Beautiful. This is so exciting. I love it.
And I'm going to put the other sock from Grandma that I didn't use yet is going to be part of the stuffing.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab that tea that I made. The Baba Yaga
Yeah.
tea. Yeah, I'll be
The
right
Baba
back.
Yaga tea.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. I'll be right back.
Yes. It still smells so beautiful, those herbs. Even though they're already 1 year old. Lovely. And because it smells so nice, I'm also going to put some lavender inside. Oh, it smells delicious just now here. For me, those herbs. I love it. And because there are herbs in them, and I don't want them to pull out, I am going to stitch around the body.
Okay, I got to go get my herbs.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so here's the Baba Yaga tea that I made from last year when she came. And then I made this loose incense. It's called Protectors of Ancient Wisdom. So I'm gonna put some of that in there. And my son's girlfriend, who suddenly passed away, her 7-year-old still comes, and he didn't know I was doing the broom workshop, but when we went to Michael's, he bought the little set of brooms for me.
Cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna put that in there, and then I got like it's a little fairy spoon thing, but it's where I use some of the black salt for protection, and like, you know, when she burnt the women, like, you know, I'm sure they went down the ashes, so that's going to represent that as a sort of protection against, like, you know, to just like against feminine attacks, and just to continue to be, you know, blessed that way. And
Oh, that's
then,
so amazing.
thank
Well,
you.
this is a beginning of many blessings. So here there are so many of those blessings.
It feels it.
What's in the tea for the Baba Yaga tea?
Oh my goodness. So this one's great. This has got actually pine, and it's got elderberries, and it's got currants, because I wanted them to represent, you know, old age. Mugwort and
Yeah.
skullcap, I believe, is in this one. I gotta read the back. I made this last year. It's too hard for me to read, but I got it written down in a book upstairs. I write all my little recipes down and take pictures of the rituals and stuff. So yeah, it
Yeah.
smells just like pine. It's so, yeah. Oh, and it's got blackberry leaves in it too. So that's another thing that's in that tea.
And you just like you choose the herbs intuitively.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. This is kind of magic. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, they're always channeled. I make a playlist and I have a ritual, and boom, 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 they just speak and out it comes. And I taste it, and, you know, make any adjustments if necessary. Yeah, this one was wild. This also has a little bit of sage, I think, in it. I'll have to check. Sorry about
the dogs agree. The dogs love it.
The dogs, yeah, they always anoint everything. Oh, this is so great. This is so fun. Oh, perfect.
Okay, can I share the herbs that I'm putting in, and
Yes,
and
please.
how this mermaid is becoming quite plump? It's got to match her boobs, right? So she's got a belly full of clary sage, and she's got a behind full of rose. I think her behind needs a little bit more roses. And so the clary sage in her belly is representing the clarity of vision and intuitive wisdom that we have within us. And she'll always remind me of that, to listen to my belly, listen to my womb for that wisdom. And the roses in her behind, well, my husband just told me the other night that snuggling up to my behind in bed at night is like how he rejuvenates himself.
Yeah.
So
That's nice.
so somehow the roses seem fitting in the behind area there. And then I also have some helichrysum flowers, which are associated with, I had one mentor tell me that when you feel tired, worn out, they remind you that life is beautiful and worth living and give you the energy to carry on. So I'm going to put those in there as well. Mm. And I'm going to put lavender in there as well too.
Yes, it always smells delicious.
And helps us to return to rest and renewal.
I've got lots of lavender in there. And you can put your little broom in the hand, for example, Jennifer. Like I've made this kind of beginner's also as presents for people. I also put either like the meaning of the names in a roll in the hand, or like a little bag with money coins. And for you, like broom you've shown that would fit perfectly.
What a great idea. I just took it out when you said that and I'm like, yes, that's great. Oh my God. I love all the smells that your ladies' dolls are carrying, like just like the lavender and the rose. Like I can just imagine how fragrant that's going to be. Like she's already going to work her magic, when she's in the room. There's her scent.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's so great.
So much magic in all different ways. And this tea of Kazakhstan, there are so many different herbs.
What kind of herbs are in them?
It's them. They are like berries which only grow there on the mountain. Oh, wow. Only in Kazakhstan, like the berries, and what they call Ivan chai is very popular in Siberia, in Kazakhstan, and all Asian countries. It's also only grows there. Ivan chai, it's called.
Wow.
Ivan tea.
How special. That's really special. A little bit of home right there.
Yes. And from the very beginning, I put the intention, ideally a partner from my ancestor background, at least someone who feels a connection to the land and people there.
Mm.
And for me, this is a nice way to breathe us into this Virginia, the magical doll.
This whole thing is reminding me of a joke. All right. And then I'm going to have to go because I have an appointment at 2 and I'll share pictures of my doll when it's finished.
Oh,
before I go, I want to tell you this joke. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a man and a woman that were married for many long years. And the woman, as an old woman, was dying. And as she was dying, she said, honey, I'm going to be gone soon. And I want you to know where there's a very special box
that's my gift to you. And she tells him where the box is, and he goes and gets it and brings it back, and he opens up the box, and inside the box there's a doll and a whole bunch of money, like a whole bunch, like enough for him to like remodel the house or, you know, buy a new one, and he's talking from a Californian, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh my goodness. Well, first of all, tell me, what's this doll? And there's just this one doll in there, and he could tell it was homemade. It's this beautiful doll. And she said, for all the years that we were married, some 50 years or something like that, every time that I got angry with you, I made a doll. And he goes, wow, there's only one doll in here. And she goes, yeah, well, all that money in there is from all the dolls that I sold over the years. So that's my gift to you. That's my
Oh my God, right on.
Well, thank you for this idea, because that's actually why I'm also building an Etsy shop to sell those matryoshkas, and I can imagine selling those dolls. You
So
know,
when you do
I like
find
this
your
idea.
husband, you find your partner.
Well, I'm not going to make a doll whenever I argue with my partner. I'm going to make a doll because it's so much joy.
That's
And
right.
each doll brings a different moments and of time, isn't it?
Yes. Oh,
And
that's
so it's
beautiful.
wealth building through joy.
Oh,
There we go.
that's awesome.
I think
thank you for this
I'm with
great
you on that.
hint.
But you know, I think crafting like this is great when we do have difficult feelings as well, that we can create something beautiful out of those difficult feelings is a great
Yeah.
practice as well. And
Absolutely.
Yes.
transform that into joy and wealth and well-being through the crafting project. I think that was the original essence of that joke, I think.
Yeah, being creative is so healing, isn't it? And if we do it together as well, like now together, this is even more potent, because each person brings their own intentions, their own energy, and it's even more fun than when I would do it by myself, for example.
Yes.
So thank you for being there with me.
Thank you.
This is just wonderful. Thank you.
This is how she looks so far for me.
Nice.
She's so cute. Looks like a little snow woman, the snowman, you know, with snow woman. I love how round you make her, so beautifully round and full at the bottom. It's just like, it's like this feeling of abundance.
And here's mine. I have to sit.
This is abundance. Wow.
I have to sit
I love her. Oh my God, she's wild.
Just so abundantly like fertile and full, and
yes,
it's like this overflowing cup, like woo.
You know, Erica, on one of yours, I saw you put the same color as the dress, kind of on for a hat or hair or something. I think I might want to do that too.
Or you can use a different color. It doesn't matter. And for that, you just need a triangle shape. Look. And you really put it like the what is it called? How the women put it on it?
Kerchief.
Like a handkerchief.
Like a handkerchief, yes, around the face.
A kerchief.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll be sharing my photos soon. And
yes, please.
Yeah, looks like she can swim.
All right. Thank you so much, Erica. We'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Selma, for being here. I look forward to see the picture.
Yes.
Me too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Selma. Oh, this is
What a
just so
treat.
much fun.
This is I love this. Like I just love this so much, and the fact like that you make dolls, especially my book is called Paper Dolls, and I didn't play with dolls growing up. I was always outside hanging out with the boys, swinging from trees and getting
And
dirty.
me too. Same here. I actually
Oh my
looked
gosh.
like a boy until
Yeah.
the point where my breast came. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was not able to hide it anymore. I actually wanted to be a boy.
Oh my
And
god.
because I was a professional sports girl in a boarding school,
Oh
so
wow.
naturally most of the very talented children were also boys, and I
Oh.
always looked like a boy.
Oh.
Always.
Wow, that what an amazing story.
Yeah,
Wow.
we have got so much in common.
I know, I love that. And the more it's like the more we hang out and talk, the more I'm like, oh my God, there's my universe sister right there. Where's she been?
Yeah. And I'm so happy about that.
Me too. I'm like, oh, it's so nice to feel that connection and to feel so at home and
Yes.
comfortable. Yeah, yeah, I love
Yes.
it. It was so easy. I was like, oh, and I remember like the first time I saw you on I think it was a picture or something. I was like, oh, that lady's cool. I'd like to get to know her, right? And because I think you had your outfit on, it was on the Mighty Networks, and then you came into one of the group things. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And it was just magic right away. I was like, she's so neat. So it really is cool to like, see someone like to have that breath of fresh air of women in commonality and admiration, and be able to learn and have joy and play, and it's just so great. It's what makes life so special.
Yes, exactly. And that's how we grow, because it's like passing on the seeds, and each one of us has got different like skills and passion. Like without you, I would have never done my own broom. Yeah.
Oh, right.
No.
Oh,
So
wow.
I will be forever grateful for that.
Oh, that's so cool. And yes, and it's so right. Like without you, I wouldn't be making this doll. I wouldn't have made any of the dolls that I have, like since I met you, the abundance, the matrushka. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Matrushka.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, it's so incredible. It's like a whole new world, really. And I'm glad. Really, I was like, I'm glad I didn't play with dolls when I was younger, because I think it makes me enjoy doing this right now. Like I don't have any other experience or memory with it.
Yeah.
So it's just this is all so pure, and like you, I bet you can relate to that because you
Yes.
didn't play with dolls either. So
Didn't play with dolls at all. If
yeah,
anything, it was always just being like very patriarchal, boyish as a girl, and then always good in sports, and then academia. This is always very male orientated. So it was really just 7 years ago when for the first time I actually thought like, wow, but the feminine is totally missing in my life. And
yes,
that's when I really started to visit a female temple group here locally, and really started to integrate bit by bit. It's like my feminine parts more and more. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I can relate to that. I was always, I didn't I ran track, but I didn't do professional sports in school because I left school early, and then I at 16 I got right into bodybuilding. So I
Oh,
was a
wow.
yeah, 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 you can't tell now, but that's all right. Yeah,
Wow.
I totally hit the bodybuilding scene, and I was very close to my brother. We were only 14 months apart, so you know, always around men, you know, and my
Yeah.
dad was a mason in, you know, construction and bricklayer. So when there was projects around the house, I helped dad or watched dad, you know, so same thing, did archery down in our basement. So, you know, I was like tending to the fire in the wood stove and shooting archery while the girls would play, you know, it's like, I just kind of did whatever guys did really. And like you, it was just like, oh, I think it was, I mean, I always like, I would wear dresses and have my hair done, but I wasn't connected to the feminine energy until I took up tribal belly dance. And that's
Mm.
what started getting into that feminine energy and like, oh, there's something here.
Another thing we have got in common,
Did you do
because
it too?
I learned belly dancing to surprise my ex-husband, who is Moroccan, and we married in Morocco. And
Oh my God.
and nobody would have ever guessed, because like me, like always just like trousers and everything, never like dresses and everything. So I was still quite boyish, and I had very short hair and everything. And then I thought, what a great surprise if like I'm gonna surprise him and all the relatives, because they're the women, they all can dance, belly dance. I mean, they grow up with that, you know, the girls,
Wow.
all beautiful dancers. And then for the wedding, like I learned for 2 years, I took private lessons. Nobody knew anything about it. And then I came like on my wedding, and I like did a choreography, and it's like everybody's like, especially my now ex-husband, but
Right.
he was just like, oh my God, he couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe it that I was so brave, you know, because I
Yeah.
thought I'm gonna die, but I did it. I did it, and this was a very important part for me to reclaim my
Wow.
feminine side, you know,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
until then, like bit by bit, doing the temple work, and then reconnecting, obviously, with this feminine wisdom, and it's like always going deeper. It's unraveling. It doesn't stop. Whatever we put our attention to, it just develops now more and more. And now I love wearing dresses, especially those tribal dresses or shamanic dresses and stuff. Like, yeah. But it also
I
started with the belly dancing. So we have got
Isn't
another
that
thing
funny?
together.
I love that. I love that story so much. Like, and the courage it took for
Oh,
you to do, and how you were able to keep that secret for
well,
2 years. Oh my God, you're a master. You can do it.
but it was because we had a long distance relationship. I lived in London and he didn't have a
Oh.
visa. He still lived in Morocco. So it was always me traveling there. So he didn't know what I was doing in London.
Oh. I love that laugh after. That's so cool. And then you did temple, and when you said temple, it kind of made me think, you know, the same time I was belly dancing, I got introduced to the red tent, and then I started to co-lead with the lady that she did the red tent and taught the belly dance. And then we co-led, and then when I opened up my own place, it was a very interesting story, but then I started doing red tents. So is the temple thing you're talking about kind of like a red tent?
um, there is a worldwide movement by Chameli Adach, Awakening Women,
Okay.
and Yogini Sadhana. There are like over 300,000 women worldwide nowadays.
Wow.
And she started like 8 years ago. She has written a handbook for Awakening Women.
Wow.
And in this handbook, you have got guidelines of how to lead a temple, with
So
exercises, how to marry yourself, how to embrace your breasts, how to connect with your womb, to connect with your vagina, and like for practical guidelines for gatherings, for the circles.
oh, that's so cool.
Very potent work. And we're like locally here, some women of us, like about 7 of us.
Wow.
And I did that like for 4 years, every
Oh,
week,
wow.
which was very powerful. Yeah.
It is, I got to crack up. Like, I love the fact that you did that, the commitment and the dedication, to go there every week and be willing
Yes,
to do
every
that
week.
every week. And I didn't, it sounds funny. I didn't go to a temple, but there's a Kenyan woman, elder, Mama Mukami is her name, that I got introduced to. And she studied with a world famous guru. And I would go to her house um, down in St. Louis every week, every Sunday, for almost all day, um, to learn different things, like the meditation and some of the stuff you're talking about surrounding temple, but of Indian. And so you said yogini, and she actually is friends with a woman out here named Yogini. So I imagining they do the same kind of work. So it's really interesting to me that um, in our paths, but she's much larger. Mom is was just in her home. That we still had very similar. It went here, here, and here. Like belly dancing, the temple. And so it's just kind of interesting how that spiral, and like
Yeah.
you said, that constant unraveling, and that made me think of the spiral. So that's when I opened up my own place. It was called Journey Inward. It was a spiritual wellness center, and that was my symbol for the place was a spiral. And as soon
Mm.
as you said the unraveling, I was like, "Oh, Erica, that was it. That's how come I was drawn to the spiral, because it was like what you said. It was that feminine energy just unraveling, not going in, but coming out. I would have
Yes.
never put that together without you sharing." So, wow, girl, I love it.
Forever unfolding. I've got a painting project of a vision book where it's also like my vision is also the spiral. It's like connecting with the essence. It's like this original point that we have
Yeah.
implanted in the womb, and
Yes.
then it's like our whole life is unraveling like a spiral.
I love
And
that.
sometimes we have got the same. It seems like it's the same like challenges or experiences, but it's just because the spiral is making a circle again for us to learn something, but it's not the same. It's from a different kind perspective,
Yeah.
and it's still evolving, still evolving.
Mm. So true. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it. I love doing labyrinth walks and spiral. Like, we'll make
Yes,
spirals, and we'll walk them, and like go down to the center. And it's so true about the perspective, because no matter how many times I've done a labyrinth walk or a spiral walk, it is a different perspective every time. I don't get the same information every time I do it. So that is so
exactly.
true what you say. Yeah, that's brilliant. I resonate with it so much. That's great. Ah!
Yeah, another coincidence.
I keep it coming. We love it. Hi, baby.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my god. This is, I gotta tell you, I could tear up. This doll um is so cute. I love your idea. I want to thank you, because I was gonna tuck the broom in, but now, and she's got like a power pose. Her arms are like up in the air. So she's so cute.
She's very cute and powerful with her broom there, witchy medicine.
Right?
Well, mine is
Yeah.
actually finished, like,
Oh,
uh,
can I see her?
and she has got this around the
Oh,
head. How is it called?
yes.
Nep-
So they say handkerchief.
handkerchief.
Yep. I call it a kerchief. Don't know why. Kerchief. I think that's another
Kerchief.
word for it. Yeah. So you can do handkerchief, you could do kerchief, whatever you want. Yeah.
And she's got an apron. I like to have an apron over because this is cute.
I love that idea. How do you do the apron? Oh, just a piece of cloth coming down.
Just a piece of cloth,
Oh, beautiful.
and then just put it
Okay.
up and put it together with the red thread.
Okay.
Once it's up like this, make a red thread around it, and then you put
Oh,
it down.
okay, so that gets a red thread. Gotcha. I like that. I like that touch.
Mhm.
All right, now I gotta try to do her. So, I think I got my boobs up too high. I'm trying to do her. Well, the kerchief I have also is felt, so maybe that doesn't work.
Can you not put the breast piece a little bit more down if you tuck them like down? Because
Okay.
there should be, if there's wool inside, they're quite flexible, so you can just put them where you want them to.
You know, she might just I got a red cloak upstairs, my daughter and I think she's gonna get a red kerchief. I think she's gonna have that on her head to kind of go right along with that. This is so fun. What a great idea.
And I love the idea, like to combine it like with analyzing fairy tales and that, because I love that, reading them. And if there are regular circles, like to really have a good discussion whilst you do something with the hands, to
Yes.
dive deep. Like that's how we are powerful creators. What we think right now is very potent. Yeah, that's how we create the new, by coming together, retelling new stories and creating something with the hands. And I mean, the matryoshkas is the same. It's like each matryoshka has got a different story, and we breathe life into them. And we women, we always used to do that. We came always together, like to dance, to tell stories, to do something with the hands. And
Yes.
yeah, this is so
Yeah.
much fun.
This is great fun. Like I love that I used to do a lot of women's circles, and I miss it. I miss that feeling, of being with women who are like-minded or like-hearted, and get to play
Yes.
and yeah, and bring something back, which we lost so long ago. I think we always tried to do it, but I think something would get funky along the way. And I don't know. I just felt like growing up, um, cliques. I think like cliques are a form of women trying to gather, but they do it in the old paradigm of, of that competition
Yeah.
and stuff. And some of it, I think some of the competition is because of, oh, she's getting a different kind of hat, is for breeding. I think because when you're young, when you're trying to find a mate, it almost would be innate, for us to kind of compete for breeding. So I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting how it's this and that. It's the patriarch and something that's just encoded in women until a certain age. And they were just like, ah,
Yeah.
really so funny.
There's the sisterhood wound as well, which goes back to a very long time. The sisterhood wound.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's
The
still
sister
quite
wound.
strong in many, many circles.
Oh my
You
God.
don't necessarily go like with the womb-centered healing temple or this yogini circle temple. If they're like the normal groups, I never felt good there. That's why I wanted to be more with men who are much easier to get on with than these women who are like stabbing each other and everything. And I never got on with women like this.
You know, it's funny you say that. That was the same thing, even in my journey, you know, that when I first came into groups, I was just like you know, because I didn't, you know, I was picked on in school a lot. So I didn't like
Yeah.
hanging around the girls anyway. So for that reason, I was like, just like you know, it's like it's not worth it and it doesn't feel good. And and then when I got older and you know, and I did the belly dance thing, like I really thought, you know, that oh, you know, here it is. And now I find these community of women. And it wasn't. And I had to go through getting wounded in order to grow, you know, to
Yeah.
go, but I never gave up. I was like, nope, it's something out there. And so coming into Sama's, actually meeting Tiffany Krieger, she's a womb lady who went through the fountain of life with Sama, I think. That's how they met. Um, and she was the first one. I was like, oh, these womb women seem to be authentic. So
Mm.
that was really kind of cool to then come into the temple, the apprenticeship, and goes like, wow, these women rock. And I felt, excuse me, so safe. And that was the first time there was a safety in the um, feminine connection. So that, you know, that was like really interesting to experience.
Yeah. And it's so potent. And now more women who feel alike come together
Yes.
in circles. And I agree with what you just said. It's like we had to be wounded, like me too. It's like I was mobbed most of my life. But it's like looking back, as a soul, I must have chosen that because that made me very empathic and highly sensitive towards all different kind of people, no matter from which background.
Yes.
And I don't want to miss it because otherwise I probably would have stayed more on the surface if I would have not experienced this div type, like suicidal attempts and the drug history and everything. Those are experience which made me see very different, multidimensional even on many different levels. And it's a treasure nowadays. The wounds is a treasure.
They I love hearing that how you've transmuted everything, you know, and like how you understand the value of what you went through. And it's like there's such a champion, you know, of your heart and your spirit and your womb, you know, that rises up against all of this when I hear you speak, you know, and it's like that distant learning, you know, it's like, yep, you learn. And then when you go back and you have some distance from it all, and then you're like, you learn even more, you know? And it really is so powerful. It really is.
Mm,
And I thank you actually for, you know, sharing. And I know you share your story, which is so brave. And I think a lot of women, like including myself, you know, it opens up that gate with that transparency, to ignite hope and to feel okay. You know, we both share a lot of similar experiences even there,
mm,
you know, so disinterest in living and everything, you know. So it's, I think it is just the same way to me. I felt like when I came out of those groups and I thought, oh, I must have been that, you know, like attracts like I must have, that must have been my step into
mhm,
evolution, you know. Thank God I didn't stay because that
yeah,
meant I would have not grown at all. And then whatever angers I used to have towards those women for doing, you know, exploiting other women and hurting me, it became a, oh, maybe it's just a journey, you know, like everybody has their own journey, and maybe in places where I was wounded, and I found this, that was still, despite everything, that was still a place for me to heal and then go on. And maybe that's
Mm.
their purpose. And then became very open and compassionate and just accepting, in this place without judgment. Like, they're not bad, they're just part of that journey.
Mm.
So, and then it just was like, well, I hope something comes out of it, or maybe that's just the way groups of people are. Maybe some people need that, because I needed that at that time, to be in that environment, and to learn something about myself, and other people like discernment and healing my own wounds. So it's very much, I can resonate, with exactly everything you say, because it does become like enrichment and a
Mm.
place to evolve. So I can totally relate.
Mhm.
What you say is like, here we go again, the same horse.
Yes, the wounds become wonders. We're becoming
Yeah.
like the witches and the wizards, the magicians who can turn anything like into magic, into medicine. And that's how I like to see it nowadays.
Yes. Yes. The alchemy.
And it's not like I don't get triggered, or sometimes hurtful feelings experience still come up, and like
Hmm.
this money wound is still quite big, and but I see it differently. I see it as part of my challenge to experience, and eventually it will transform into gold, like like
You got
the
it.
other things have transformed in my life. And sometimes it's just necessary to continue to go on, and have trust and surrender in any experiences. All illnesses, challenges, that can all be turned into gold.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yes, that's a good quote. Like, that's a beautiful quote right there, right? And it's so true. But
And we
in
have
this,
got powerful tool here with the matryoshkas and the spiriginias. I found something which I enjoy, where we can really turn, like Selma told you, the joke. This is exactly in essence. It's like
yeah,
every time the woman was angry, she did a doll. She became wealthy, and I just like this way. It's like cute and it's fun, and we can also
great.
like do alchemy, like.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Like, something from your story, well, the story that you read, and then making this doll, and having some of the background, experience, with you and some of your other workshops and meditations, and a couple, of mine that you've been at, and thus through the womb journey, like all of that. It kind of reminds me, like right now, about what you talked about, where you had yours, stuffed like in with you, and she journeyed. I was like, just right now, I'm going, oh, like this doll already has, from this connection, like there's a connection to like Sama and you from
Mhm.
the womb journey, and how, like, I didn't realize it until now, looking at her, like she's traveled 50 years,
Oh,
because I'm 50 now. So she's traveled 50 years waiting to be born.
yeah. Wow.
And then here she is, and the timing of your workshop is interesting, because I think my cycle is done. I haven't had my cycle for a couple months now.
Mhm.
So I can no longer birth babies. So here's a new form of birthing. So this
Oh,
is
that
so
is so
powerful.
nice.
Right? So this is so cool. Like, I just realized just like the power that's in her already, and like, they're sisters. Hey.
Oh,
Right? They get to see each other. It's
Hi.
so cool.
I don't have a name yet, but we are
Yeah.
connected. We are connected. I'm the magical doll of soul partner attraction.
There you go. I love that. Oh my God. And I love the green for your soul partner because whoever it is, when I saw the green, and hearing you speak, and I was like, oh, it's really that partner is really gonna have that beautiful heart, that soul heart, with all that love and richness and vitality to share. Like, that's a good doll. I can't wait to see this person someday.
Yeah, because we are now connected. He will be introduced to you anyway because I did the broom.
Yeah.
And this with you and Selma. He's definitely going to be introduced then.
It's like, hey, here's that guy. So that is so cool. It's neat. But this has just brought the fragrance that's going on right now. Is so wonderful. So I thank you. It's like this wild mixture and this wild scent that's going on that reminds me of, like, in the story of Baba Yaga in the woods and having that evergreen in there emanating. It's kind of like, so I think it's gonna forever like honor that piece of what it means. And that's something I've been working on too. Like, I got a photo shoot to do down at this there's a Renaissance fair, and there's this old house that's like it looks like it's burnt down. So that's what the story is for that, instead of like um the old woman like being jealous of the young women. It's the young women being jealous of the older woman and her wisdom, and burning the house down. So it's almost like just redefining, like retelling the story just to bring some balance. Because like with Baba Yaga, you know, and the young girl and making her work hard, it's like, whoop, let's flip it. So it's kind of neat that she's here. I'm gonna have to have her in the photo shoot when I go down.
Oh,
I'll
great
have to have
start.
her
I want to
sit
see the
there.
photos.
Yeah, I'll post them for you. Yeah, I'll share them with you. So this
Yes,
is
please.
so much medicine. This is beautiful. Aw.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's already 11:30, and I think we can leave
Yes.
it here. And just
Yes.
last time, like Dole, thank you very much, and Jennifer and Selma as well, who were here, and our beautiful dolls who are now being activated. And I'm curious to hear what is going to develop. And yeah, thank you, Jennifer,
Thank you.
and until we meet again.
All right, honey. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying up so late. This is great.
That was
Night.
fun. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.